Okay, we're going to start. I want to thank all of you for coming today and for being concerned about our community. And we're all kind of back from we had a semi-hiatus for July. Even though our council were dark, we had other meetings. But I think we all squeezed in vacations in between them, and we're all back to work now. So welcome to you, and I hope you had a good summer. School starts, a week from Wednesday. So summer's almost over here in Vista. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we're going to do our consolidated agenda tonight. And the first thing we're going to do is have a roll call by the City Clerk, Marcy Killian.
The record will reflect that all members are present with the exception of Councilmember Gronke.
Mr. Gronke is excused for this meeting. The next thing we're going to do is have a Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Sister Maureen Brown of the Church of St. Thomas More.
I believe we're all standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Let's take a moment to bring ourselves, body and soul and spirit, to this room after a busy day. I invite you to go to your deepest center within yourself, where you find peace and wholeness and the loving energy of our higher power, the God in whom we trust. From that center and in that spirit, we pray for this City Council and for all here present in thanksgiving for their dedication as we pray. Grant us, O God, a vision of the city of Vista as your love would have it. A city where the weak are protected and none go hungry or poor. A city where the riches of creation are shared and everyone can enjoy them. A city where different races and cultures live in harmony and mutual respect. A city where peace is built with justice and justice is guided by love. Give us this council, we pray, and its citizens, the inspiration, the wisdom, and the courage to build such a city. And to all of this we say, Amen, so be it.
Thank you, Sister Brown, for coming and sharing that with us. The next thing we're going to do is have an approval of our agenda by our City Manager, Rita Geldert.
Thank you, Mayor. There is one exception, one item of correction on item C5, and that is for the agreement for construction of recreational facilities and joint use at Vista Academy of Visual and Performing Arts, VAPA. And there's just a typographical error on page 5 of the construction agreement for recreational facilities, and this was corrected and distributed to Council on Thursday, August 4th.
Okay, thank you. We didn't have a closed session today, so there won't be any reports taken on our closed session. The next thing on our agenda will be our consent calendar, which tonight are items C1 through C9. So I don't know if there's anyone that, I'm just looking to see if there's anything to be pulled. Looks like C5, the presentation. Okay, we do have, before I do that, I have it's been a long time since I've run the meeting. So we have a presentation of a certificate of appointment to the Community Development Block Grant Citizens Advisory Committee to June Esquera. Did I murder your name? Come up. So I'd just like to present this certificate of appointment to her and congratulate her. She'll be serving on until until August? No, let's see, when is it? Just says it's effective June 14, 2011. And I think it's for, is it 2 years? Anybody? 2 years, 4 years? Anybody? 2 years, for a 2-year appointment. So I know. So congratulations and thank you for doing that. We appreciate your volunteerism and doing that for us. So you're welcome. Thank you.
We might note she even has a fan club here because she has other members of the committee who have come of Harvey Bush and Rabel are in the back to also welcome her to the committee. And do you have other committee members here? I think, is that it? Well, that was really nice of the both of you to come and welcome June to your committee.
Okay, so now I can move on to the consent calendar. Take it in order here. So the consent is, again, C1 through C, items 3 through C9. I see one item that was pulled, which was C5. So is anything? Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor Ritter. I'd just like to make a comment on C4, but that's all, just a comment on it when that comes up.
Well, it's on consent, so you might want to...
Am I allowed to do that, Mr. Piper?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it up?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. One of the things that I know that the last year or so we've been really working on our budget, and it always seems to come up that, well, we need another 100,000 and we need another 80-some thousand, and here we are with another 80-some thousand. Maybe it's the right time to do it, you know, as far as your vehicles. But here we're trying to save money right now, and instead of really, saving, we continue to spend money. So, are we trying to save money, or are we just continuing to spend money? Do you really need it? Can we get by another year without it until the economy picks up? Those are the things that I ask, and I think that if staff's recommending this and it goes through, it goes through. But we need to look at this. Staff needs to look at all these things that we're spending money. If we're trying to save money, why are we spending money? That's all. Thank you.
I'd like to comment, and I may have Mr. Howell put in there, but this is a truck that was at the end of its service life, and to replace it was much larger value. We actually, by going through this process of the truck-mounted self-contained patch unit, we're saving $100,000. This was a replacement, and we're saving $100,000. Would you like to add anything to that, Mr. Howell? We're not spending extra money.
Well, one of the keys to, we're only replacing essential vehicles, and I can assure you this truck is 16 plus years old, has about 90,000 miles. They're all in-town miles, with a truck being very heavily loaded. We're experiencing a lot of downtime from the vehicle, and this is essential. When it's raining, this is the truck that takes care of the potholes, and we run it every day. So I can assure you it's really important that we replace it.
And it's good business that, you know, you're able to save, you know, transfer the box, that you say, into another truck, which makes sense, especially if we have the trucks. But it's still going to cost you $82,000, correct?
That's correct, and
Okay.
just to kind of
So
clarify,
we're spending $82,000. That was it budgeted?
Yes.
Well, I never seen that in my budget, you know. So the thing is, you know, why are we spending money right now when we should be holding back on money right now?
We were going to spend a couple $100,000 in the replacement of the unit. That was in the budget, and so instead of we're spending less than half of that amount, and so that's why we have to bring it back to council, because it was a change. Instead of spending $190,000, we're spending $80,000, $82,000. So that's why it's an amendment, and it's gas tax money. So we have to have approval from council anytime a change is made to the overall budget program. So when we brought the budget to council, we had the whole unit was going to be replaced. So now, since we were amending it and not replacing the whole unit, and it's gas tax funds, we have to show a trail of why we're not replacing the whole unit, and it's a whole lot cheaper.
Well, I
It's
understand
half the-
all
it's
all
less
of
than
what
half
you,
the
I
cost.
understand all that, but I just, we're trying to save money, and here we're spending, we continue, every week something comes up that we need something.
Right, we budgeted,
know.
and we're going to spend
So-
$190,000, but instead we're spending $82,000.
We need to save money right now. Thank you.
How many potholes did we fill last year? Like 5,000, wasn't it?
It was, around 5,000. This truck is used every day by my operation.
We have one other speaker. Before I have I know the two of you want to say something. Do you want to take the speaker first?
Yeah, I pushed my button to talk as the comments were being made because the staff report really I thought was very thorough in explaining to us the situation, and I don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish. We've budgeted for this. We've actually saved over $100,000 out of what we budgeted, so we really have done what we set out to do, was to cut costs, and in this move we're doing it. We're not just buying a new vehicle, and so I will make those my comments and move to approve the consolidated agenda with the exception of C5.
I'll second it.
Okay, did you want to say something, John? And then
Yeah, I did.
Cliff wanted to speak.
I just agree. I mean, I think we're saving money, and I just want to get my potholes fixed. So if we can save money doing it as well, then I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Okay, we just had the one extra speaker, Cliff Kaiser. Sorry, Cliff, I think you're thinking to me a little late, so I would have called you earlier.
Sorry. Mayor, Council, just a brief comment. It's not clear to me what the return on investment for this proposal is. It says that we're going to reduce the number of trips down to the asphalt plant, and therefore, because we're doing that, we're going to save money. I'm sure that the cost justification is there because of that, but it would be nice to see that in more detail in these types of staff reports. I assume that one of the two trucks, because one of the trucks is going to be retired and one of them is going to be revamped. The retired truck, I'm sure, will have some type of salvage value. That would be appropriate, I think, to see in this type of report as well. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
We do have salvage value on our vehicles until we actually get them to market and get them to bid. Sometimes it's $100 and sometimes it's several $1,000s. We don't know that until we actually sell them, until people bid on them. So, and we return that information to council and let them know what we did receive on them.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the balance of the consent calendar except for C5. So please vote. Motion passes unanimously with the exception of Mr. Gronke, Councilmember Gronke, who is not here tonight. The next issue will be item C5, which is the agreement for construction of recreational facilities and joint use at the Vista Academy of Visual and Performing Arts. And we have one speaker twice.
Would council like
we
to
have just
hear
one speaker.
a
Just one
report-
speaker is Chuck Rabel.
report before the speakers, or would you like to hear the speakers?
Give me the report.
Would you like a report?
Report, then I'll.
Okay. We're going to have a report and then Mr. Rabel.
Good evening, Council. Bill Fortmuller, Assistant Director of Recreation and Community Services. Last November, the city was awarded a grant of $4,955,000 from the State of California Statewide Park Program through Proposition 84 for the development of recreational facilities at the Vista Academy of Visual and Performing Arts, located at 600 North Santa Fe Avenue, and it is part of the Vista Unified School District. VUSD will lead the contractor on the development with city staff oversight. Facilities proposed for development include a neighborhood center with a gymnasium and a theater, a lighted synthetic multipurpose field, outdoor basketball courts, a passive grass area, and tot lot. The grant objective is to increase recreational and cultural activities to underserved neighborhoods. The city's goal is to have 4.5 acres of devoted neighborhood and community park and recreation land for each 1,000 persons. The surrounding neighborhood of Vapa currently has less than a half acre per 1,000 population, which is well below the city's goal, a median household income of $41,733, and over 2,800 families living below the poverty level. Upon completion of the development of the recreational amenities, the proposed joint use agreement will become effective, allowing the school to have operational control during school hours and the city to have operational control during non-school hours. VUSD will be responsible for the complete repair and maintenance of the facilities, with the exception of any damage occurring from city use. The term of the joint use agreement is 30 years, as required by the grant, with an option for a renewal. The joint use agreement will supersede the existing memorandum of understanding, which is a requirement of the grant application. Upon completion of an executed joint use agreement with the USD and completion of the California Environmental Quality Act report for the construction of the recreational facilities, both will be submitted to the state, and upon receipt of documents, the state will issue an executed contract for the construction of the recreational facilities. That's the conclusion of my report. If there's any questions.
I have 3 speakers. I don't know if you'd like to hear the speakers first. Okay, we'll start with the speakers. Mr. Rabel.
Good evening, council, neighbors. Just a couple quick points. Let's not, when we do these kinds of things, let's not duplicate what's already in place. I'm speaking now about the Boys and Girls Club and the facilities that are available there. And it doesn't appear that this duplicates it, but there's a ball field, a great ball field, and a gym, and it's in the neighborhood. The other point that I'd like to make is that congratulations on getting $5 million in the grant. Have we submitted a grant for a skateboard park, a grant request?
No, we have not yet, because property needs to be identified prior to submitting grants for all things. This is about the 4th or 5th year we've submitted for this property, because I'm sorry, for this funding for these facilities, because land was identified. For any grant along those lines, you have to identify the property location. It has to be secured prior to them considering grant funding.
Don't forget the promise that was made to the generation that's going to pay for Prop L. They had a skateboard park. They haven't got a skateboard park. Let's get on with it. Thank you.
Cliff Kaiser.
I'm a little unfamiliar with the joint use agreements between the city and the school district, but I did have the privilege to meet with Mr. Christ here recently at the Buena Vista Park and the ball fields there, and we reviewed the current maintenance of those fields. But the rest of the team that I was with from the Vista Girls Softball also looked at the fields on the Rancho Buena Vista High School. And I believe that there's probably a mutual agreement between the high school and the school district and the city for those fields as well. And my concern is that in a mutual agreement like this, it doesn't appear that the city can hold the school district accountable for maintenance of the fields. If you were to go, for example, to the Buena Vista Park fields, you would see that they are relatively nicely maintained amongst the, when compared to the Rancho Buena Vista High School fields right adjacent to that. Significantly different. As a matter of fact, we had to, the league had to go in there and do considerable maintenance in order to host a couple of countywide tournaments. So it would be nice if there was some monetary value assigned to the maintenance assigned, there were some guarantees in place, but somehow have some type of accountability to say that if we invest this money, you promise to maintain it at this level of service.
There, with our joint use facilities agreement, is really just speaks to that. It is a joint use of the facilities. We can't hold them accountable for the level of maintenance that they have on their facilities no more than they can hold us accountable and tell us what standard we are. We can't tell them that they have to have it at a A-level maintenance, and they can't tell us that either because of their funding and their budget status. However, we do point things out to each other, and we work mutually to try to notice these things if they're needing repairs. But we know that several of our fields we'd like to have in better condition, several of their fields they would like to have in better condition, and it's a matter of funding. So with respect to maintenance, with the VAPA funding, they're responsible for the maintenance. We just got the grant for them and helped in that way. So we know that it's important, and that we would like to see, all of us have the highest quality and level of maintenance, but we can't, in our agreements, there's not an ability, nor would we want to do the same thing with us, to tell us how we need to run and at what level.
I understand that, and it makes a lot of sense, but the differences in the level of maintenance are very clear in this example of Rancho or Buena Vista Park and the Rancho Buena Vista High School JV parks over there. I mean, the city is putting in a lot of effort to maintain those fields, but they're not. So there's an injustice there, and a big difference in the level of maintenance. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker will be J.C. Wynn.
Thank you, Council. And I'd just like to commend Bill Fortmuller and his staff and the City Council and everybody for working together with the school district for giving and putting out effort to get sports fields for the people of our community, because that's what really makes the difference, is giving these kids some place constructive to be and going out of their way to do this, because these kids, they always find time to play sports or go out there, even if there's no adult instruction. If there's a field to go play on, you could usually find a kid out there playing on a field as opposed to, graffiti painting or something else. So I just commend the council and the staff and Bill for his diligence, and the PTA and everybody over at VAPA, because I know this just didn't happen last week or last month. It's been years in the making. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, Council, do I have any comments? Or if not, I'd be looking. Oh, Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you. So this, Ms. Gildert, you said the level of service that we will have there is according to what the whole school district has?
I think each school is it's site-based in terms of maintenance. I know it changes from time to time, but they I think the principals on site have a say in where the maintenance is to be directed. The bulk of this facility, of the fields, is synthetic turf. There's a small portion that's natural turf, but they have, there's safety standards. The PTAs do fundraising to help with support of the fields as well. VAPA has a very active PTA in support of it, and I know they're looking very forward to getting these facilities in to improve the conditions there. Right now, it's all dirt except for the soccer field. Yeah. And even that's in sorry shape from all the use. But it's again, we can't speak for the school district, but each campus tries to get the district to maintain their fields in the condition they want.
And I think Mr. Kaiser was referring to worrying about new facilities coming online and making sure that they were maintained appropriately, such as he's seen an example of fields next to each other which are maintained differently, and we understand that. We wish that, and I'm sure that there's some areas that they would wish that we would do a better job. So but we don't have control over their budget, and they don't have control over ours.
Yes, but is there a dollar value that we're going to have to pay the school district at all, or just no?
Not for that, but not for this. They're in charge of all the maintenance.
Okay, good enough. A question. When you were preparing drilling around the school district for whatever they do to figure out the buildings that they put on there, I heard that there was a lot of water as you drilled. Is there any way that they plan on putting in any wells or any drilling for water by any chance?
They hit groundwater, I think, in one location about 6 feet, and in such an extent that they're having to relocate the positions of the building. I believe they did some samples of the water, and it was too alkaline to actually be suitable for irrigation. Mm-hmm. But they did explore that possibility. But I think what the condition of the water they found, it wasn't suitable for irrigation purposes.
The one they found wasn't suitable for irrigation?
The water that they tested when they did the initial the borings,
uh-huh.
it was awfully alkaline in content, and it wouldn't be
So
suitable.
they only go how far down? 15, 20 feet?
I think they went like 15, 20 feet. They hit water at 6.
So if you want real water, you need to go down much further. And
Right,
there's a possibility there could be water there, good water.
Right, but the way the grant is with almost $5 million, it's pretty much maxed out. There's no extra money from the school district, and there's no extra money for the city to go into this
Okay.
at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Coles?
Yeah, I too am very proud of our city and school district to work together to get something for our children. These are all of our children, the school districts and the city's children that get to benefit from these, and we never have enough gymnasiums and ballparks. I mean, I doubt that there will be an overlap or competition for space for our kids to have their play fields. And as far as the standard of maintenance, and I know the issue because I spent some time with the school district, and the school district is a public body as well as the city. And when they prioritize their budget, there are hearings and there are opportunities for the public to come and give feedback. And that's the way the city responds, and I think that's the way the school district has an opportunity to respond as well to these differences in levels of service. And I know that the maintenance crew has always been very proud of the way the fields are kept up, but they've been strapped with budgets, I think, as well as other people as well. But I really am proud of all of our agencies working together to complete this grant.
Mayor Pro Tem Aguilera?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I think the more fields, the better for our city, and in particular in that area. I think there's a great need, so I think this will fill a void. I've had some issues, with city schools as well, or the city, school fields. We play in public, and we also play with the school fields in Little League. And, all we've simply done is, in the past, is contact the school district, and they've been out there and mowed the lawns and fixed it up pretty quick. So I know they have a Chuck Chris guy, and his name's Rob Chris. I don't think they're related. But he's a great guy, and I know what you're talking about, and I feel for you on that, but I also feel for the school district because they're also strapped as well. But they've responded real well to us in the past and gone out there and met our requests real quick. So good luck with that.
Okay, so I guess I have no more speakers. I'd be looking for some kind of a motion.
I make a motion to approve item 5.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. That motion passes. The next item on our agenda is our discussion item, which is a landscape maintenance services amendment to the agreement. So with that, would you like to hear a report? Yes, we're going to hear a report.
Good evening, Mayor Ritter and council members. Chuck and I are going to go through a brief presentation and be available to answer any questions that you may have on this proposed amendment. So let's start by giving you a little background. Last June, we conducted a bid process, and included in that bid process was all of our existing parks as well as parks that were under construction. And then in July, you approved an agreement with Aztec Landscaping for landscape maintenance of our city parks. This was about 90% of our parks at that time. And to go on to say that we privatized all the maintenance. So then, in consideration that we were very satisfied with the service, we brought in the first amendment, which the city manager approved. That totaled $16,682, and included in that was 6 fire stations, 3 of our smaller, I'll call it a parkette, and 1 sheriff substation. So that's the background on our contract, and we continue to be very satisfied with the services that we're getting from Aztec Landscaping. So what we're here tonight, there's actually two elements of the amendment. And the first one is to add a facility. And there's been a great deal of talk already in this meeting about sports facilities, and that's exactly what we're here. This would result in adding the sports park to this agreement with Aztec. We're currently, the cost for maintenance with Valley Crest Landscaping, and this was under a design build program, is $178,000 a year. By terminating that contract and approving this amendment, we'll change over to Aztec, be the same identical level of service, and the cost would be only $69,000 for a 12-month period. And this is a great example of economy of scale. The second element of the amendment is to change the scope of work. And currently, all the facilities maintained by the city are what we describe as a high-level maintenance standard. We'd be changing over to a medium-level maintenance standard in many of our parks. And on the slide there, it lists those. And I'll tell you, we've put great effort, especially Chuck, into what I'll say customizing the maintenance in each of our parks. And you'll be seeing that later on in the next slides. But I want to point out that what I'll describe as our premier facilities, Moonlight Amphitheater, Rancho Buena Vista Adobe, will remain on the high-level maintenance of service. It'll be transparent, no change there. But something that we talked about when we were going through the budget process, we discussed reductions in our water consumption. We've overall cut our water by 30%, but here's another area where Mr. Christ is adjusting our water consumption based on the season and the usage of that area. So let me turn this over to Chuck, and he'll start with Bengal Terrace Park.
Okay. Good evening, Council and Mayor. The first slide that we wanted to present to you for consideration, well, let me back up. Tonight I'd like to present a few slides to show different classification of the recreational facilities and some of the applied reduction in frequencies that we've implemented to try to strategically get the best out of the resources we have in the way of money allocations, as well as apply that water in sites that are getting their highest use and reduce to the passive areas where we get the lowest use. We're stretching our dollar as far as possible. The first slide that we're looking at is an overhead aerial view of Bengal Terrace Park, and it includes the various recreational type of applications or sites that we have within the park. The active use areas in Bengal Terrace are shown in green. These types of areas accommodate organized recreational or cultural events and activities. Mr. Howell referred to sites that are very active, like the sports fields. You'll see there the Moonlight Amphitheater. Those are high-use, regularly scheduled locations within that park, as an example, that enjoys frequent reservations and recreational cultural events. The mixed-use turf areas are shown in yellow and typically surround facilities that support moderate-level recreational activities. If you look at the exhibit, Bengal Terrace Park, on the lower end, you'll see that particular site that's yellow on the bottom end is surrounding the playground area. What kind of activity do we have there? Well, it's moderate. On the weekends, we do get a lot of users of the playground facility, and we thought it was important to accommodate or promote turf growth in that area more so than the passive areas due to the type of use that includes picnicking and family recreation and retreat. Passive turf areas are shown in the magenta. Passive areas are often expansive and areas that are rarely used for organized activities. And this exhibit here, along with all the other parks we have within our system, are on the city's website. on the homepage. We put those there to try to help communicate our efforts. They've been very useful to the folks that have called to inquire about the approach that the city is currently employing. Here we have the Moonlight Amphitheater. This site, again, is a high-use area. This picture was taken just within the last week or so. We will not be lowering the irrigation or the maintenance frequency at this location. The Moonlight Amphitheater is an active use site and will not experience any reduction, as mentioned. The level will stay high. The maintenance and irrigation frequencies at Bengal Terrace softball fields will also remain unchanged. However, you'll notice to the right in the foreground there's a sloping area that is passive due to the nature and the site being fairly underutilized. So the water and the irrigation that we've applied on our programs for that area is much less than the ball fields. This picnic area at Bengal Terrace Park is also an example of a passive area. And the dry appearance, it can be expected that on occasion, these types of locations will exhibit a drier type of appearance, of course, than, say, your sports fields. This slide shows the conditions of a mixed-use turf area surrounding the playground at Bengal Terrace Park. As a result of reduced irrigation frequency in mixed use and passive areas, park users can expect to notice drier conditions in these areas than they have in years past. The turf's appearance will vary at site to site depending on environmental conditions such as sun exposure, soil composition, and gradient or slope. This area here is a mixed use, this area here is a passive area, and you'll notice that we're overlooking at this site the sports field. So you'll see somewhat of a comparison there in the foreground. This is passive. It receives less water, of course, in the ball fields, and that is the appearance that you'd see if you went out there today as a result of our efforts to save water and achieve a 30% reduction per annum. This area is also considered passive. This is a green belt that's very visible. It's located at Shadow Ridge Drive in South Melrose. The irrigation frequency at this location has been reduced and the turf's appearance is green and growing currently in a healthy state.
Marcy, if we could go back to that last slide. We're almost there. Pardon me, I double-clicked. Just two more times.
Yeah, two more.
Right there.
There you go. There we go. That was the summary I was looking for. So the financial summary on this is, with the addition of the sports park, that's an additional cost of $69,000 added to the contract. But in the reduction in maintenance level that Chuck and I have described, that's a reduction in $77,000 in costs. So the bottom line is our contract with Aztec Landscaping is $8,400 less a year. Chuck and I are available to answer any questions you may have.
Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you. If you go back to the picture, the Shadow Ridge one, I was there 2 weeks ago. How long ago was this picture taken?
This was taken last Tuesday or Wednesday.
Last Tuesday or Wednesday, because I was there 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It was pretty dry. This looks pretty green.
Yeah, you know, the appearance will vary. We'll stick to the irrigation cycles, but depending on the humidity and the sun exposure and whatever we have in the way of heat during the day. However, thus far, the soil composition there is very good. We don't have slopes. We have some shade canopy from the trees, so the appearance is favorable under these circumstances.
I noticed that you're letting some of it, dry up, and then we still have several months before it actually starts raining. If you let the ground dry up, the grass dry up, is there a possibility of erosion in some of these hilly areas where it could cause problems? Will we have problems if we let it go too far?
I think the likelihood of any erosion issues is very slim. Very slim. There's many of these areas go back probably 20, 30 years, and the root mat is very dense. We hope for a wet, rainy season. We're going to be aerating the turf and trying to introduce some maintenance applications that will promote allowing the water to percolate into that soil profile. There's a likelihood, depending on the fall heat, that it'll dry out more, but we're going to monitor it very closely and do everything we can to minimize that.
The two companies that were there, Valley, what is it, Valley Crest?
Correct.
Where are they from?
I don't know where their corporate office is. I'm sorry.
I mean, are they local?
Well, Valley Crest, I believe, has various sub offices. The office that serves our city, I'm not sure where the location of that is, quite frankly.
And where's Aztec from?
Aztec, I believe, is from Lemon Grove. They have an office, I believe, here locally, but their corporate office, I believe, is Lemon Grove.
I'm curious to know where the other one's from, if you can get that name for me. Thank you.
Sure.
But, you know, you've done a good job. You guys have done a good job trying to cut corners here and trying to save the money, so keep up the good work. Okay?
Well, thank you, Councilman. Our staff works very hard. Appreciate that.
Mayor Pro Tem Aguilera.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. First of all, just water, is that part of the resolution at all, though? Or are we just having that as part of the discussion?
That was part of the discussion. We didn't want to glance over that, but that was something that was included in the budget.
Okay. So we're not deciding how much you guys can water?
No, sir.
You already did.
But we wanted to explain the whole truth about the appearance of the turf and the landscape.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that because I know there's been a lot of concerns in the community about that. How much do we actually save by these cutbacks? How much money?
Well, we're projected on the maintenance frequency reductions to save approximately $77,000.
From water?
No, that would be the maintenance by
Right.
reducing frequencies.
I was just
But
wondering on the water.
the water is estimated to be $60,000
For the whole city?
for the whole city. That would be 30% of what we would typically spend for landscape irrigation.
Okay. And then I guess that you answered my other question, which was on the $77,000. That's the breakdown of by consolidating all of our contracts with Aztec.
The $77,000 savings is the amount we save as a result of reducing the maintenance frequencies at passive to moderate use park sites.
Okay. And then is there additional savings then by adding in the deal with Aztec?
Well, by adding, we think that there was a significant economy of scale advantage. In 2010, as Mr. Howard mentioned, when we put this contract out, we had 11 contractors that drove around with us on a bus. We had a conceptual drawing for the sports park as well as the civic center. And we really tried to do our best to write specification that gave us some flexibility, which is helping us today. If we went out to bid, we feel, on that site independently, I presume it'd be significantly more. But combined, there's an advantage there to the contractor and the city as a result of pooling so many sites together.
Okay. How much experience does Aztec have in sports fields?
Well, sports fields is a big part of their landscape maintenance services. We expect them for that facility there because it's a large site to have somebody there almost full time. At Bengal Terrace Park, when they came there, of course, along with Buena Vista Park, we emphasized the need to provide sports field maintenance. Forgive me, I'm sorry, not Buena Vista Park, ball fields, but Bengal Terrace Park, and they've done a good job. Now, along with that, our crew chiefs that remain as quality control type officers who are very capable in this line of work as well, sports field management, have helped them. We've brought in some professionals that continue to advance their skills and ability. But specifically, how long have they been doing sports field maintenance? I really couldn't tell you. I think it's safe to say that it's always been part of their service delivery model.
So they do the fields that Mr. Kaiser was talking about earlier?
No, I had to ask for forgiveness on that one.
Okay.
But Bengal Terrace is a good example of their service.
Because I know we've been involved with the sports complex over there. I know we've had some issues at times with Valley Crest. They broke the machine, they overwatered, then they underwatered, and so, I mean, it just seemed like they were really kind of learning the process as they were going. So I'd hate to see us have to go through another year of the learning curve with these guys.
Councilman, I asked the same question when we met with them to talk about this change, because what we're looking for is transparent. One crew moves out and the next one moves in. And they've assured us that, and to this date, they've kept all their promises they've made. When they took over the park system, they did a terrific job. And I'm confident that they'll do the same thing. They're going to need to learn the irrigation system. There's some intricacies, but as Chuck said, we have our crew chiefs there that know the system, that will be there to help. And we expect they're going to make us a really strong effort. They're going to dedicate some specific personnel to be there on a daily basis. I think we'll get really good service.
Well, we'll certainly have a little bit more leverage now that their contract's bigger. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Coles.
Yeah, this is, it's always a challenge to try to make a desert look green. You've done a good job. And up until last year, when we were going through droughts, finally we got a wet year, and it would be nice to have a couple more of those on top, and to get the water rates to come down as a result of that. Has there been any discussion with any of the water distribution agencies about cost of water with the surplus that the state's experiencing now?
Well, I'll say this, because in my last job as Director of Public Works with Poway, where we provided water, the answer is no.
No, yeah,
it's
it's a one-way street, the price.
But the cost of pumping, and it just costs a lot to buy water.
Yeah. But I appreciate the way you have carefully gauged the areas of impact, the areas of visibility and usage, and I think you've done a fine job with that. And just keep up the good work, and we'll support you. Thank you.
Councilmember Lopez, and then we also have a speaker.
One quick one. Okay. When we have capital projects like that, normally whoever is running the projects, you have to go through a system where you document where every line is, where you document all that stuff. So I think when you have Aztec coming in like that they will, all they need to do is go to the city and you get your documentation, and they know exactly where everything is. And I think that they can just take over without a problem. Also, do you know by any chance how much water we pump out of the wells that are there that we're doing the watering and landscaping? Do you know how much electricity we use to pump versus if we had to buy the water? Do you have any kind of idea?
I don't have that information here tonight, but I'll tell you, the great advantage to having your own water wells is the fact that it's an uninterruptible supply, that you can't be forced to reduce your water because of a drought as long as you have your own. But the cost of pumping groundwater is very expensive. If it was cost advantageous, all the Grove, all the ag customers that are in Fallbrook and Valley Center, they would all have wells. And right now there's just a small fraction of them that do it. It just doesn't, from a cost perspective, make a lot of sense.
So when we have drought years, when the water starts getting expensive and we have to start cutting back, it's a nice idea to have well water, huh?
That's when wells really pay back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call the speaker, which is Chuck Rabel. But he's speaking on behalf of the Shadow Ridge Vista Rotary, and then he's also speaking on behalf of himself. So maybe you can...
I'll square that away right now. The contract with Aztec
Are you
does
speaking
not...
on behalf of yourself or on behalf of the Rotary?
I'm sorry.
Which one are you speaking on behalf of?
Well, from what I read, the contract doesn't include Rotary Lane. And I'd like to speak to that in open time. You know what I mean? Oral communications. So I'll just make it real short. Is that assumption correct?
Rotary Lane's covered under a contract, but not under this one, not under Aztec's contract.
Okay, so I'll wait until the end to speak to that. Real quickly then, we have hard data here as to what it's going to cost. I suggested before when we talked about the budget to be, rather than say, as Ms. Gelder does, over 100 staff positions remain vacant and unfunded. Let's convert what the contract with Aztec is to equivalent heads and keep 2 sets of books, okay, those positions that are vacant, those positions that have been farmed out, and what the head count for those are. Just going forward, you have some benchmark information that might do you some good. And with that, that's the end of my story this time. Thank you.
Thank you. In that case, we need to have a motion. Somebody. Anybody? Mayor Pro Tem Aguilera, your name's up here.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution, Second Amendment to the agreement with Aztec Landscaping to amend the scope of their services.
I'll second that.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. Well, that motion passes unanimously. Councilmember Gronke excused. The next thing we have are oral communications, and this section provides the public with the opportunity to speak on any item which doesn't appear on our agenda. State law prohibits the City Council from taking action on these items because that are not listed on the agenda. And in order for us to stay on schedule, each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. The green light means proceed, and when the yellow light comes up, you have 30 seconds left to speak, and then when you see the red light, you should wrap it up. So we have 1, 2, 5, is that 1 or 2? There's 2 more. So we have 7 speakers tonight, so. Okay, so I hold her to the end? No, should I go first? Okay. Okay, then the first speaker will be Ann Green. She's speaking on Vista Magnet Middle School. She's doing a presentation tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and community. I'm going to talk really quickly. I'm Ann Green, the assistant principal from Vista Magnet Middle School, and our principal, Dr. Villarreal, is in the back. Behind me, I have 2 of our students. And we'd like to talk to you briefly tonight about our community service program with the hope that we can expand that and liaise with you more in the coming years. Our last year's program is what you're going to see actually up on the PowerPoint, and in the year 2010-2011, Vista Magnet Vipers contributed over 4,000 hours collectively of service to our community. We have a couple of quick slides here. Vistans Rock, I Love a Clean San Diego, Alta Vista Gardens Earth Day, and a list of some of the organizations that we worked with. Some are local, like the ones I just mentioned, and some were national or global. For instance, Oshkosh Cranes for Japan, Heifer International, examples like that. And we kind of wrapped up the year with the Strawberry Festival 5K. Altogether, we donated items as well, like 484,000 grains of rice, just going to name a few, $844 to the Leukemia Society, and several carloads of supplies to the Humane Society and Solutions for Change, another local organization. Some students have given some sort of testimonials here, but I'm going to leave that to our young ladies behind me. Jayla and Isabella are going to speak to you really quickly about how the community service program affected them. And again, it is our hope that we can expand that even more with you this year and reach out even further to our Vista community.
Hello, my name is Isabella Alvarez de la Campa, and may I just
Talk
say...
right into your microphone there so we can all hear you.
Oh.
Talk real loud.
Sorry. My name is Isabella Alvarez de la Campa. I'm going into 7th grade, and may I just say it is an honor to be in front of all of you. Service has affected my life in a large variety of ways. It has helped my self-confidence and other self-esteem issues and happiness. Through the main community service events I have done last year include Vista Holiday Parade with the City of Vista Youth Commission, Ronald McDonald House with my Girl Scout Troop 4456, and setting up socials and gatherings with ASB. But the thing that made me really want to do community service was going to VMMS. The school really inspired me to go above and beyond. A quote by Jennifer Lopez reminds me of how I personally feel. Love and help doesn't cost a thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Jayla Ranjo. Like Isabella, I'm also going into the 7th grade. I'll be honest, before having come to Vista Magnet, I'd always had the illusion community service was a boring nuisance forced upon middle and high school students. But after contributing to my community, I realized just how enhancing doing a good deed is. One event in particular truly spoke to me. Coming from a Carlsbad school, I knew no one coming into VMMS. So I decided it would bring back every good memory and emotion from elementary school if I paid good old Pacific Rim a visit. It was a school I'd gone to for years and felt at home in. As soon as I stepped onto the campus, I felt a rush of emotion and happiness, remembering all the memories I'd made at elementary school. I visited my old classrooms and helped my old teachers grade tests, mentor students, and organize papers. I'd enjoyed helping out so much, I just knew it had to come back. In total, I contributed over 20 hours of community service to my old school. This one good deed can change my perspective on community service forever and taught me just how mentally enriching and enjoyable helping others can be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your time. We look forward to working with you more in the coming years.
Thank you. And we appreciate you and all the volunteer hours that you put in, all of you. That's wonderful that you help our community out in that way for all the kids. So thank you. The next person I have to speak will be, I don't know if I can read this here. Oh, Nance Wells. Did she leave? Oh, okay. Then following her, Mary Jo Poole.
Okay, thank you. My name is Mary Jo Poole. I live at 451 Avenida de la Luna here in Vista, and I'm with the Skate Park Coalition. And we came here to update the City Council on what we've been doing. And it's actually really good for me, too, to sort of sit back and what have we been doing. You know, we've continued to meet with the skaters at Decade. We're down to about once a month now to meet with them because we've started doing a lot of activities. We've developed a solid group of support from the skaters, a real core group, and then a lot of members that are supporting us as well. We've attended the farmers market for 4 weeks and the Rod Run over the weekend. We've collected well over 1,000 signatures in support of the skate park effort in this community. We've found overwhelming support from all types of people, all walks of life in this community for the skate park. We had a movie night at the library where we watched a film, Dogtown and the Z-Boys. We've been meeting with Kathy Valdez and Deputy Collis, hoping to plan a skate day in October for the community. We've been developing a community service component as well, working with the Boys and Girls Club, and the skaters will be doing a Learn to Skate Day with the kids on August 19th. And then in September, the Boys and Girls Club will be having a festival, and the kids will be going and doing a demo for them. The kids, as you can see, have created T-shirts, and went through the whole process, creating them, getting them printed, and everything. So they've been really very active. Finally, we thank the city for forming the subcommittee and with Park and Recreation Commission. and we look forward just to continue working with the city and getting this moved forward and doing the right thing by the skaters in this community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker is Luis Aviña Sosa, Jr.
Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me speak.
You can pull it right down in front of your mouth there. There you go.
I'm part of the Vista Skate Park Coalition. We're trying to get a safe place for the skaters to skate, not like to get out of the streets and have a safe place. And
It's okay.
it's good.
Does your friend want to say something? No.
No. Oh, that's it.
That's okay. Thank you. We appreciate it. The next speaker is Chuck Rabel for Rotary Lane.
Good evening again. Chuck Rabel, I'm the, among other things, I've got a lot of titles. I'm sure you've given me some. I'm the community service guy in charge of, with the Shadow Ridge Rotary. And typically every year we clean up Rotary Way. We all know where Rotary Way is. Good, thank you. And this year we didn't do it. We talked to the city, and we asked for a master plan, as opposed to every year in the past we've done things kind of ad hoc as to what we planted and why. We haven't yet seen the master plan, but we'll wait on it. And those of you that were downtown this weekend, if you did have a chance to look at it, it was ugly. Okay, the weeds were about this high. The gophers are still there. It doesn't appear that it's getting watered. Some of the plants that we put in last year are now gone. And there's a big pile of mulch on the east end of it. We're committed to seeing to it that works, but we can't do it without your help. And last year, when we did do the work, what complaints we had with the city, we passed on to the city public works guy that was there, and he said, "Well, it's not our problem. It's we contract it out. You can contract things out, but you can't contract out ownership." And fortunately, yesterday, somebody did cut all those weeds down. It still needs a lot of work, but most important, it needs a master plan that we can go forward and we know what we're doing on a regular basis. With that, I'll let you be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rabel. J.C. Wynn.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'd just like to say welcome back. I hope everybody's vacation was enjoyable and relaxing, and look forward to going further through August, September, October, November, December, and moving this city forward. I know everybody's in tough economic times, and these stock markets going up and down and up and down, and I make a couple suggestions to the city that now that it's down, we should buy because it's the lower prices, and maybe next month it'll be some money. We can form some master plans or something. But I look forward to meeting with everybody because I have a few ideas for some fundraisers to help the kids, and since that's what I'm about, I hope we can work with the city. I've already talked with Eleanor Hutchins today with the Lions Club, and we're going to try to get some good ideas I've shared with a couple people, and I think we got some winners that we could use every year for the city of Vista for some, I wanted to have like 3 or 4 good fundraising ideas, and I think I've come up with them, and I'm going to be sharing them with you here in the next couple of weeks once we get the thing. It's kind of like top secret because we don't want nobody to steal them because they're so good. So anyway, welcome back. And with kids like that just spoke up here, there's no doubt in my mind that the city of Vista is going to get bigger and better as we go. So keep your chin up. We'll make it. Thank you.
One question. Are you still going to be, what's that, Santa Claus?
Well, I just want to make sure that we're going to get to ride on a fire truck this year. So I'll leave that up to all you guys to take care of that for me, okay?
But are you still going forward with that?
Huh?
Are you still going forward with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And we're still planning on doing the Easter egg hunt next year and
Easter
everything,
egg hunt.
so it's
Okay.
rolling. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, JC. Okay, the next thing on our agenda are the remarks, which are reports from the City Council, the City Manager, and the City Attorney. So should we start with maybe the City Attorney?
Nothing this evening. Thank you very much.
Okay. Is there another speaker and I missed it somewhere? Oh, you know what? You got shuffled in here. Amber, I'm glad you said something. Where are you? I'm still looking for it, but it's in here. I know I saw it, but it's, okay. Amber Starbuck is here with, and I apologize.
Oh, that's fine.
I had there's all these speaker slips, so I must have turned it over and I shouldn't have. So
No,
I
that's
apologize.
fine. I was enjoying the kids. My gosh, it takes so much courage. It's fun to see that. So, no, that's fine. Honorable Mayor, members of council, my name is Amber Starbuck. I'm the Public Affairs Manager for SDG&E. I've had the opportunity to meet most of you and work with most of you, so it's an honor to be here in front of you with some good news. We've got all of the load that we need for the summer. So I'm just here to share with you that Cal ISO has shared with us that we have adequate supply to meet the loads for the summer for 2 reasons. Namely, we have new supply, new power plants online, but also because of the economic downturn, we've seen a much decreased demand as over previous years. However, we are expecting a summer, as you well know. We're seeing much more usage this year over last year when it was much cooler. So today I just wanted to encourage you and your constituents to take advantage of some energy efficiency measures. We have a lot of rebates and incentives on our website, which is sdge.com/summer. We also have a lot of energy efficiency tips there, where if you take advantage of, for example, every customer is eligible to get a water savings kit. In the water savings kit, there's faucet aerators and things of that nature that will help you not only save water, obviously, but also the energy that it takes to heat your water. We also have a lighting exchanges throughout the service territory. And on August 20th, we have a lighting exchange here in Vista at the Home Depot on Melrose. Starts at 9 a.m. You can come in and bring 5 of your light bulbs and replace those. And you can also, 5 incandescent light bulbs for 5 compact fluorescent light bulbs. But the other piece that's pretty exciting is that you can also swap out table lamps and floor lamps, up to 2 floor lamps. So there's lots of opportunities, lots of things to do to save energy, and we just would like to encourage all of your constituents to conserve energy this summer. Thank you.
Interesting. So it's 2 floor lamps and 2 table lamps? Mm-hmm. And you'll give us new ones?
Yes, new ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Light bulbs.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
And do you have that on your website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or you could go to there's a direct sdge.com/lighting, and that'll give you the list of this one in Vista, which is on August 20th, in addition to others that are throughout the county.
Well, if we don't already have that on our website, we will put it on there.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and I apologize for overlooking your slip there.
Oh, that's fine.
Thanks, Amber. Okay.
I have a question.
Oh.
Yes.
Councilmember
Thank
Lopez.
you. My light's on.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if it was on from before.
About a month ago, could you explain the service that San Diego Gas and Electric has for commercial buildings, what they've done, what they do as far as going through all businesses and the look at your light bulbs, all
Sure.
that. And also on that, there's also, is it just for the commercial or is it residential? On your bill, you are actually charged a fee, and that has to be how would you say it, put back into the community because of that fee. Are you aware of that? Know how
yes,
that
so
works? Could
to
you
your
explain
first-
that, please?
Absolutely.
So that way maybe commercial folks can have either call or have some work done on their properties.
So to your first question, I think you're mentioning the direct install program that we're working on. We utilize the chamber as a showcase site where we've gone in and done the program so that other businesses can come and see what it looks like. Essentially, we send in a contractor to small businesses and they do an audit. And then there's also a variety of measures that they can do after they do their audit. For the most part, it's tuning up your appliances. That's where we get a ton of savings on your usage, because if you don't clean your filters out, it takes a lot more work for your appliances to do their job. So it's a lot of that, a lot of servicing the HVAC systems. And then we, of course, replace lighting. That's a huge cost savings. So that's part of the direct install program. On the commercial side, you might be talking about the program where it's called Savings by Design, where we actually work with commercial builders early on and help them design projects that are more energy efficient. So that might be the program that you're referencing. Both of those are listed on our website, but we also have a variety of other programs that businesses can take advantage of to save money. We have programs where you have programmable thermostats that allow us to help you conserve throughout the summer months, where you give us control, the ability to go in and do that. So there's a bunch of little programs, but I think the two that you mentioned are those. And then on the public purpose program fee, all customers pay a public purpose program fee. It's PPP on your bill. It ranges based on the tier that you're in, but that's the fee that everyone is charged, and that's where all these funds for these programs come from. So basically, you're already paying for the programs, and so we like to encourage everyone to really take advantage of them so the money stays.
Some of the commercial, where they have the fluorescent light, they'll actually come in and change your ballast to the new type of light. So it's a great program. I know because they did come in and in one of my buildings, and they did go and change the whole thing. So it's quite a savings to a company. So
that's good to hear.
It saves electric. So
they just swapped that program out so that the T12s are part of it this year. So that's really good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
Any other questions? No. Okay. Thanks, Amber.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Now I guess we'll go back to our back to remarks. So the city attorney didn't have any, I don't think. No remarks. Okay. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just again, we're back in session, and a lot has gone on in the last month with respect to what the California legislature has accomplished with their taking of cities' monies with redevelopment and the extortion payment that we have to make. We will have a full report to council on August 23rd, and the decision that will be before council whether or not to remain a redevelopment agency, and the payment that we would have to make the first year would be approximately $6.3 million. But it doesn't end there, as we all know, is that there's always other issues on the horizon. And just today it was announced that California revenues missed their mark by 10% in July. What they had anticipated, they fixed a lot of their budget gap and adopted their budget, and so they thought that they would receive optimistically another $4 billion over the course of the 11-12 fiscal year. Plug that number in, because it's nice when you can do that. You just can make up numbers and you just put them in. But we really actually have realistic numbers in our budget. So we anticipate that there will be some fallout from that also. In what direction, we don't know. So wish I had really good news, but we are surviving, and we will have to respond to those other reductions in the redevelopment funds, and also those affect some of the general funds. Thank you.
Great. Great news. Okay, and then I will Councilmember remarks. Councilmember Lopez.
Thank you. Mine might take a little long this time, okay? Do you mind?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, over the weekend, they had the downtown barbecue and also the rod run. I was there both days, full time, and I think that this year that they've done very well. They did very well, and I give them a AAA this year, the work they've done, because they've been very successful in what they're doing. They hired a new gal there that was very calm, very good at what she did, and I was very surprised about that. They did very well. But I also want to talk about during the rod run and the barbecue, they had solutions for change there as to help them with whatever they needed to do there. And they had their yellow shirts and solutions for change. I had a booth there, and they did a great job. I give Solutions to Change a AAA because they worked very hard. I was very pleased with what they did, and also there was a North County Football Club. All the young kids from the soccer club were there and had a huge fun area booth, and they also helped set up and knock down, and I give them a AAA. I think the whole thing was a fantastic weekend. The barbecuer people ran out of food by 2 o'clock. They had thousands of people showed up to it, and also they got a great story for change with North County Times. The gal that was there wrote a great story on it and was out there and really enjoyed it. So with that, also the Vista Firemen's Association will have their breakfast, pancake breakfast, August the 27th between 8 and 10. It's about supporting the wounded warriors, the military, which is they're really supporting them, and I think it's a great idea. Also, Rancho Buena Vista, Adobe, on August the 28th, are going to have a fantastic hoedown there. They'll have a barbecued sandwich with coleslaw and a great afternoon. Also, Rancho Minerva, the Historical Society, is having let's not forget about their Oktoberfest in September. I'd also like to talk about, also keep in mind about the red light cameras. I'd like to know more about whether or not it's actually paying for itself, or more information if we could on it, because it's just, I'm wondering if it, I had a lady approach me the other day and is so worried about that she got so scared with it that she gets scared, and what happens is that she felt like she was getting some kind of a heart attack because she was so scared with it. And so I'd like to know what's really going on with that, because people are so fearful that they're going to get a ticket. So I'd like to see more about that, if the manager could come up with more information on where we're at with that, and when their contract is up, because we need to look at that. I'd also like to talk about a man in our community that has given a lot of his time and also money. He has been in Vista for many, many years. There's a lot of people in this community who give. And last month we had Mayor Vance's wife pass away, and during that time I went to the service, and I listened to her sons speak, and you learn the history of the family and how much love was in their family. And I wish I would have gotten to know Mrs. Vance a little better, because she was a wonderful cook and a wonderful lady, and our hearts go out to the Vance family. With that, and thinking about that, and it's always, well, I wish I would have said something. There's a man in our community that gives every day to this city, whether it's money or time, and his name is Paul Eckert. And he gives to almost every organization here in the city of Vista, and will continue, I think, until he passes away. But I would like the folks of this community to once in a while, when you see him, say thank you for all you have given to this community and to the people of our communities who have given, because it's too late after they're gone. So thank you, Paul Eckert, because you have given and you continue to do it. So thank you, and that's all I have to say. And welcome back to all of you, and I hope we do a better job for the people of our community. Thank you.
That was rather long. But speaking of people who give a lot back to their community, and I'll just put this in there because we got a letter requesting that possibly we name the facility the Bengal Terrace Community Center facility after Jim Porter. And so that would be, if there's a consensus of the council, I'd like to bring that back, have the city manager bring that back for a report. Would that be?
If you'd like, I could just bring it back for consideration for the council. Is that what you'd like?
I would like that as soon as possible.
I would too.
And we also do have a red light camera report coming to council in the near future. And on the red light cameras is that we don't lose money, and we have prevented innumerable accidents. Our accident rate has gone down significantly, and unlike a lot of cities where they have placed red light cameras at every intersection, we've only placed them at a few where we've had significant issues and significant accidents, and so we'll be proud to bring that back. We don't lose money. We have the contract in for a number of years, but we will demonstrate those cost savings, we think, as far as in time of the deputies and firefighters and accidents. And we truly believe we've saved lives, and that's what the council was about when you authorized the installation of those red light cameras, not for revenue generation, but to save lives. So we'll be happy to bring that back in. And we can bring back a report on the naming of the facility on the request we received.
And basically, the red light cameras save the T-bone accidents, which are the ones that are the dangerous ones, not necessarily the rear enders and those, but those T-bone ones are the ones that kill people. So anyway, so now, Councilmember Coles.
Well, I too would like to thank everybody for coming back to from our summer recess, and we're going to get down to work, as we've seen tonight, getting a lot of things moving along and implementing the Spartan budget that we adopted. And I want to thank the city staff for doing the council's wishes in that regard. This last weekend was a stellar weekend for the city of Vista. I think we continue to grow as a destination spot for some of the events that we hold and host here. The reports back, as well as my own observation, was this was a great success and a venue and an attraction. The barbecue, the idea of people love a barbecue, and the food was great, and I think the throngs of people there demonstrated that as well. I want to second Councilmember Lopez's remembrance of Janice Vance. It was a very sad loss for our city, for the leadership of our city, and our hearts go out to his family in their support of her memory.
Mayor Pro Tem Aguilera.
Yes, I would also like to reiterate our loss as a city when Mrs. Vance passed away. She was a very, she helped me a lot when I was campaigning, and just taught me a lot about family, what was important, and she'll be greatly missed. On a happier note, I do believe that we've had a lot of success this summer so far. Weather has been cooperating. I know that the rod run seemed to be very successful. There's a lot of people down there, and the barbecue, was very successful, as demonstrated by them running out of food. So I barely got some chicken at the end there. But yeah, these are great activities. I hope that the organization can bring a successful balance sheet on our events that we had down there, because obviously from the number of people that were there, there should have been some very successful numbers. So I look forward to seeing that and helping support that. So welcome back to everybody.
Thank you. I was so sorry to miss that. I was trying to squeeze my week of vacation, and it's like between other meetings, so that was the only week I could go, but I was sorry to miss especially the barbecue, because it was delicious, I'm sure. So they said twice as many people, by the way. So with that, we are adjourned.